An alien grandma's gratitude. Mission to marry off her granddaughter, HFY. The interstellar market was bustling as always, with species from every corner of the galaxy bartering, arguing, and exchanging exotic goods. Amid the chaos, Captain Leela Davis navigated the crowd, her human features earning a mix of curious glances and cautious nods from the alien traders. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic stage, but Leela had carved out a reputation as a reliable freelancer who could get things done. Today, though, her mission was unusual. It had started 2 weeks ago when Leela had helped an elderly Fitran woman, Givera, who had accidentally gotten caught in a malfunctioning cargo pod. The Fitran were a proud, insectoid species, known for their rigid societal structures and fierce loyalty to their families. Givera had been skeptical of Leela at first, but the human's quick thinking and refusal to leave her trapped had earned her the alien grandmother's unwavering gratitude. "You saved my life, human," Givera had said, her antennae twitching in what Leela assumed was a sign of respect. "In my culture, such a debt must be repaid with equal value." Leela had brushed it off, saying it was no big deal, but Givera wouldn't let it go. After much insistence, the elder had finally declared, "I shall find you a match within my family. My granddaughter, Avera, is of marrying age. She is intelligent, kind, and strong. You would make a fine pair." Leela had been too stunned to respond before Givera scuttled away to begin her mission. Now, standing in the middle of the market, Leela sighed as she spotted Givera waving her over enthusiastically. Beside her stood a young Fitran female, Avera, whose shimmering green exoskeleton reflected the sunlight. Avera's antennae drooped slightly, a clear sign of embarrassment, as Givera gestured wildly in Lila's direction. "Here she is," Givera chirped, "the brave human who saved my life. Leela, meet Avera, my youngest granddaughter. Isn't she magnificent?" "Ah, hi," Leela managed, scratching the back of her neck awkwardly. Avera gave a polite bow, her multifaceted eyes shimmering. "Grandmother," Avera hissed softly in her native tongue, "this is highly inappropriate." "Nonsense," Givera replied in the same language, though Lila's translator implant ensured she caught every word. "This human saved my life. It's only right we bring our families together." Leela cleared her throat. "Listen, Givera, I'm flattered, really, but humans don't usually arrange marriages this way." "Nonsense," Givera declared again, undeterred. "Cultural differences mean nothing when love and honor are involved." Avera's antennae twitched furiously, but she sighed and addressed Leela directly. "I apologize for my grandmother's enthusiasm. She means well, but this is unnecessary. I hope you won't think poorly of us." Leela chuckled, relieved to find Avera just as uncomfortable as she was. "No worries, I've been in weirder situations." Over the next few days, Givera doubled down on her matchmaking efforts, inviting Leela to family gatherings, insisting she and Avera spend time together, and even orchestrating accidental meetings. Despite herself, Leela found she enjoyed Avera's company. The Fitran was fiercely intelligent, with a dry sense of humor that complemented Lila's own. One evening, as the two sat on a balcony overlooking the bustling city below, Avera sighed, "I think we should tell her it's not going to work. She's too stubborn to listen otherwise." Leela smirked, "You think she'll give up that easily? I've seen your grandmother argue down a trader over a single credit. She's relentless." Avera tilted her head, the Fitran equivalent of a raised eyebrow. "Then what do you suggest?" Leela leaned back, a mischievous glint in her eye. "We play along, just enough to convince her we've given it a shot. She'll see it's not a good match and back off." Avera hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but you'd better be convincing." The plan, of course, didn't go as expected. The more time Leela and Avera spent together, the more they found themselves genuinely enjoying each other's company. By the time Givera finally declared her mission a success, neither of them had the heart to tell her she'd been right all along. In the end, Leela decided that maybe interstellar matchmaking wasn't the worst thing in the galaxy after all. Part 2, The Galactic Wedding of the Century. News of Leela and Avera's impending union spread faster than a rogue asteroid through a jump gate. For the Fitran, such a marriage wasn't just a family affair, It was a monumental occasion. No one in living memory had ever married outside their species, let alone to a human. Givera, now beaming with pride, took full credit for the match and immediately began planning the wedding with the kind of military precision that would have made a fleet admiral jealous. "Grandmother, this is too much," Avera protested as Givera unveiled the latest addition to the wedding ceremony, an enormous, glittering canopy made from the silken threads of the rare Strinx spiders. "Nonsense," Givera chirped, antennae quivering with excitement. "This will be the event of the millennium. Dignitaries from across the galaxy will attend, and we must honor both our cultures." Leela, standing nearby, tried to hide her amusement. "You're really leaning into this whole wedding ambassador thing, aren't you?" "Of course," Givera replied. "Do you know how many trade agreements will be signed at this event? The Galactic Council will talk about us for decades." As the preparations intensified, Leela and Avera found themselves swept up in a whirlwind of traditions. The Fitrin insisted on incorporating elements of their culture, including the symbolic weaving of unity, where the couple had to create a tapestry together using threads imbued with pheromones unique to their bond. Leela, though hopeless at weaving, gamely gave it a try, earning an approving hum from the gathered elders. On the human side, Givera insisted on replicating a traditional Earth-style wedding. She meticulously studied human customs, though her interpretations were creative. At one point, she insisted that the human wedding cake must be a 3-meter-tall replica of the starship that had brought Leela to the Fitrin home world. "This is going to be the weirdest wedding in history," Leela said one evening, slumping onto the couch in their shared quarters. "Undoubtedly," Avera replied, antennae twitching with amusement, "but at least we'll have good stories to tell." The day of the wedding finally arrived. The ceremony was held in a sprawling biodome, its glass walls offering a stunning view of the Fitrin homeworld's lavender skies and bioluminescent forests. Delegates from dozens of species filled the space, their vibrant attire creating a kaleidoscope of colors. Leela stood at the altar, her tailored ceremonial uniform a perfect blend of human and Fitrin design. Avera, draped in silken robes that shimmered like liquid starlight, joined her, their hands clasping in a gesture of unity. As the officiant, an elder from both cultures, spoke words of blessing, Leela couldn't help but glance at Givera. The old Fitrin stood near the front, her antennae vibrating with joy as she watched the culmination of her efforts. When the ceremony concluded with the symbolic release of 1,000 glow wings, tiny, luminescent creatures that fluttered into the sky, the crowd erupted into cheers. Epilogue. Later, as the festivities died down and the guests began to depart, Leela and Avera found themselves alone under the canopy of stars. "Well," Leela said, smirking, "we did it, galactic history makers, thanks to your grandmother." Avera laughed softly. "She's already planning the naming ceremony for our first hatchling." Leela choked on her drink. "Wait, what?" "Relax," Avera teased, "we'll cross that bridge when we get to it." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the glowwings dance among the trees. "Do you regret it?" Avera asked quietly. Leela turned to her, a genuine smile on her face. "Not for a second." And as they stood together, hand in hand, they both knew their journey, unexpected, chaotic, and beautiful, was only just beginning. Part 3: The Challenges of Galactic Togetherness. Married life for Leela and Avera was as unconventional as their courtship. As the first interspecies couple of their kind, they became unwitting celebrities. Invitations to diplomatic events flooded in, with ambassadors eager to see the pair who had brought two vastly different cultures together. For Leela, a seasoned adventurer, and Avera, a meticulous scientist, the attention was overwhelming. "It feels like we're a zoo exhibit," Leela muttered one evening as they prepared for yet another formal dinner. "At least no one's tried to feed us yet," Avera replied dryly, adjusting her robes. Their shared sense of humor helped them navigate the chaos, but behind the jokes lay real challenges. Their biological differences, though not insurmountable, required constant adjustments. The Fitrin's diet of nutrient-rich gels was unappealing to Leela, while human foods were often too spicy for Avera's sensitive palate. Even their living arrangements needed compromises. Fitrin homes were designed vertically, with climbing structures that left Leela sore after a day of navigating their shared space. but the biggest hurdle came from outside pressures. The Galactic Council invited them to speak at a special session on interspecies relations. Leela and Avira accepted reluctantly, knowing their relationship was being used as a political tool. Standing before a chamber filled with dignitaries from across the galaxy, they prepared to deliver their speech. Avira began, her voice calm and steady. Our union is not just a story of two individuals but a symbol of what can be achieved when we embrace understanding and respect. Leela took over, her tone more direct, but it hasn't been easy. Cultural differences, physical challenges, and public scrutiny, it's a lot to handle. What's kept us going is the realization that those differences make us stronger together. It's not about erasing what makes us unique but finding the beauty in those differences. The chamber erupted into applause, though not everyone was convinced. Later, as they left the session, a reporter stopped them. What do you say to those who believe your relationship is unnatural? Lila's jaw tightened, but Avira responded first. Nature thrives on diversity. The symbiosis of unlikely partners is one of the universe's oldest stories. Leela smirked. What she said, also, it's none of their business. A gift from Givera. Back home, Givera remained their staunchest supporter. One day, she surprised them with an unexpected gift, a custom-built home designed to accommodate both their needs. The structure blended human and Fitrin architecture seamlessly, with wide, open living spaces for Leela and vertical gardens for Avira. It's perfect, Leela said, running a hand along the smooth, iridescent walls. Avira touched her grandmother's hand, her antennae trembling with gratitude. You didn't have to do this. Nonsense, Givera chirped, her pride unmistakable. A strong nest builds a strong bond. Besides, you're my favorite grandchildren. We're your only grandchildren, Avira pointed out, but her affection was clear. Building a legacy. As the years passed, Leela and Avira became more than a couple, they became a symbol of hope. Together, they started an initiative to promote cultural exchange across the galaxy, hosting programs that allowed individuals from different species to experience each other's worlds firsthand. Their home became a hub of activity, filled with laughter, debates, and shared meals. Delegates who visited often left with new perspectives, marveling at the ease with which the couple navigated their differences. One day, as they sat on their balcony watching a new group of students arrive, Leela leaned against Avira's side. Do you ever think about how this all started? Your grandmother ambushing me in the market? Avira's antennae twitched with amusement. She always knew what she was doing. We just needed time to catch up. Leela laughed. Remind me to thank her again. Maybe name a space station after her. Avira tilted her head. She'd like that. As the lavender sky shifted to twilight, the glow wings returned, their tiny lights dancing in the air, and in that moment, Leela and Avira knew their journey together, though unexpected, had created something far greater than either of them could have imagined, a legacy that would inspire generations to come. Part 4, A New Adventure Begins. Despite their busy lives as diplomats and cultural pioneers, Leela and Avira always found time for one another. Yet, after years of hosting and mentoring others, they both began to feel restless. The universe was vast, and their home, though beautiful, felt small compared to the endless possibilities awaiting them among the stars. One evening, as they sat by the bioluminescent pool in their garden, Leela broached the subject. Do you ever miss exploring? She asked, swirling her drink as the glow wings danced overhead. Avira tilted her head thoughtfully. Sometimes, I've spent so much time teaching others about our cultures that I've forgotten what it's like to discover something new. Leela grinned. Then maybe it's time for us to take a little trip, just you, me, and a starship. Avira's antennae perked up in excitement. You're serious? Why not? Leela leaned closer, her voice conspiratorial. We've earned it. Besides, I heard rumors about a system on the edge of the galaxy, uncharted planets, ancient ruins, the works. What do you say? Avira's multifaceted eyes gleamed. I say we start packing. The starship Unity. Their journey began aboard the Unity, a sleek hybrid vessel designed by both human and Fitrin engineers. The ship was as much a symbol of their partnership as their marriage. The human side featured rugged practicality, while the Fitrin sections were elegant and organic. with flowing lines and adaptive systems. As they left their homeworld behind, Leela and Avira felt the familiar thrill of adventure. Each star system they visited brought new challenges and wonders. On one planet, they encountered a crystalline species that communicated through harmonic vibrations. Avira, with her scientific expertise, devised a way to translate their songs into words, forming a new alliance. On another, they uncovered ancient ruins that hinted at a long-lost civilization. Lila's knack for puzzle-solving led them to unlock a hidden chamber filled with artifacts, including a star map pointing to an unknown region of space. The mystery of the star map. The star map became their obsession. Its markings suggested the existence of a massive structure, a Dyson sphere built around a dying star. If true, it would be one of the most significant discoveries in galactic history. As they followed the map's clues, they faced perils: rogue traders eager to steal the map, treacherous asteroid fields, and cryptic warnings left by the civilization that created it. Through it all, Leela and Avira relied on each other's strengths. "You know," Leela said as they maneuvered through a narrow nebular passage, "if we survive this, your grandmother is going to demand we name the Dyson sphere after her." Avira laughed, her antennae trembling. "She'll deserve it if we make it out alive." The Dyson sphere. Their journey finally brought them to a star system shrouded in darkness. As they approached, the massive Dyson sphere loomed before them, its surface covered in intricate patterns glowing faintly with residual energy. "By the stars," Avira whispered, her voice filled with awe. The structure was more than they had imagined. Its interior contained entire ecosystems, vast forests, shimmering oceans, and cities suspended in zero-gravity pockets. But the sphere wasn't abandoned. A sentient AI, left behind by the creators, greeted them. It introduced itself as Aerith, the caretaker of the sphere. Over millennia, Aerith had grown lonely, unable to fulfill its creator's last wish, to share their knowledge with worthy explorers. "You have proven yourselves," Aerith said, its voice resonating like a symphony. "The knowledge of my creators is yours to share with the galaxy." A new purpose. Leela and Avira spent months exploring the Dyson sphere, cataloging its wonders and learning from Aerith. When they finally emerged, they brought with them technologies and insights that would transform life across the galaxy. But their greatest discovery wasn't just the sphere or its knowledge, it was the reminder of why they had embarked on this journey together. Their bond, forged through challenges and triumphs, had grown even stronger. As they prepared to return home, Avira turned to Leela. "Do you think this is the last adventure we'll have?" Leela smirked, wrapping an arm around her. "Not a chance. The universe is too big, and we've got a lot more to see." And with that, they set their sights on the stars once more, ready for whatever came next. Part 5: The Guardians of the Dyson Sphere. Returning to the galactic stage after their discovery of the Dyson Sphere, Leela and Avira were met with equal parts wonder and controversy. The artifacts and knowledge they shared brought incredible advancements to medicine, energy production, and even space travel. However, the revelation of the Dyson Sphere's existence also sparked a fierce debate about its future. Some factions argued it should be preserved as a historical and scientific site, while others saw it as a resource to exploit. Tensions ran high as various governments and corporations jockeyed for control, each eager to claim a piece of the sphere's incredible potential. As the discoverers, Leela and Avira found themselves thrust into the role of its protectors. With Aerith's help, they convened a historic summit aboard the Dyson Sphere itself, inviting representatives from every major faction in the galaxy. The Summit of Stars. The summit was held in the Dyson Sphere's central chamber, a vast, gravity-neutral space filled with holographic projections of the galaxy. Delegates from dozens of species gathered around a circular table, each vying to have their voices heard. "This sphere is a marvel, but its power must be shared equitably," argued a Korat diplomat, her crystalline form glinting in the ambient light. "Equitably," sneered a human corporate representative. "Do you know what this could do for the energy crisis? We can't let bureaucrats keep it locked away in a museum." Before the debate could spiral further, Avira raised her hand. "This sphere is more than a tool or a treasure. It's a legacy, a gift from a civilization that valued knowledge and unity. If we turn it into a battleground, we dishonor everything it represents." Leela chimed in, We've seen what happens when greed gets the better of us. This isn't just about what the sphere can do for us, it's about what we can do together because of it." Their words struck a chord. After days of heated negotiations, the summit concluded with a groundbreaking agreement. The Dyson sphere would be declared a neutral zone, governed by an interspecies council dedicated to research and education. Leela and Avira were named honorary guardians, tasked with ensuring the sphere remained a symbol of unity. Life as guardians. With their new roles, Leela and Avira split their time between the Dyson sphere and their home world. The sphere became a hub of scientific collaboration, hosting researchers, students, and diplomats from across the galaxy. Despite their responsibilities, the couple found moments of quiet joy amidst the chaos. They often retreated to the sphere's lush, unspoiled ecosystems, where they could walk hand in hand under skies that no other living beings had seen in millennia. One evening, as they sat beside a glowing lake, Avira leaned against Leela. "Do you ever think about how far we've come, from that crowded market to here?" Leela chuckled, pressing a kiss to Avira's forehead. "All the time. If someone told me back then I'd end up married to an alien scientist and guarding a giant star-powered space wonder, I'd have called them crazy." Avira's antennae twitched with amusement. "And yet, here we are. A new generation of dreamers." Years later, the Dyson sphere had become a beacon of hope. Its technologies and teachings inspired countless advancements, and its ecosystems remained a sanctuary for endangered species from across the galaxy. Leela and Avira, though older, continued their work with unwavering passion. Their relationship had become a legend in its own right, a reminder that even the most unlikely bonds could create something extraordinary. One day, as they watched a group of young explorers board the Unity for their first mission, Leela smiled. "Think they'll make history too?" Avira's eyes gleamed with pride. "They already are, and they'll take our story with them wherever they go." With that, the two turned back to their work, ready to guide the next generation of dreamers toward the stars and beyond. Their journey might have started by chance, but their legacy would endure forever. Part 6, A Galactic Crisis. Years of peace and progress emanating from the Dyson sphere were suddenly threatened when an ancient distress signal was detected emanating from its core. The signal was so faint that it had gone unnoticed for millennia, only now uncovered by a young researcher during routine scans. Leela and Avira, as guardians, were called upon to investigate alongside Aerith, the AI caretaker. "This signal predates my activation," Aerith admitted, its holographic form shimmering. "It is encoded in the Creator's oldest language, a dialect I cannot fully interpret." "What does it say?" Avira asked, her voice tinged with concern. Aerith hesitated. "The closest translation would be, 'The seal is weakening, prepare.'" The discovery. Delving deeper into the sphere, Leela and Avira uncovered a hidden chamber buried in its depths. The chamber was unlike anything they'd seen before, filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with an eerie light. At the center stood a massive obelisk, its surface engraved with runes that seemed to shimmer and shift under their gaze. "This must be the source of the signal," Avira said, her antennae quivering with fascination and unease. Leela approached the obelisk cautiously. "If it's a warning, what exactly were they trying to seal?" As if in response, the chamber began to hum, the vibrations resonating through the sphere. A holographic projection emerged from the obelisk, depicting the creators, tall, ethereal beings with flowing forms of light. The message was fragmented, but its meaning was clear. The Dyson sphere had been built not just as a repository of knowledge but as a containment facility. It held a sentient energy entity of immense power, an entity the creators had trapped to prevent it from consuming entire star systems. "And now it's waking up," Leela said grimly. A race against time. The revelation sent shockwaves through the galaxy. While some factions demanded the sphere be abandoned, others argued for attempting to harness the entity's power. Leela and Avira knew they had little time to act before the debate turned into chaos, or worse, war. Working with Aerith and a team of scientists from various species, they devised a plan to stabilize the seal. It required venturing into the sphere's innermost layer, a region bathed in intense energy fields and unstable gravitational forces. "It's a one-way trip if something goes wrong," Avira said, her voice steady but her antennae betraying her fear. Leela took her hand. Then we make sure it doesn't go wrong. Into the core. Navigating the sphere's treacherous core was a test of their skills and their bond. Avra's scientific expertise guided them through the complex energy patterns, while Lila's quick thinking and steady hand kept them alive through sudden gravitational shifts and energy surges. At the heart of the sphere, they found the entity, a swirling, chaotic mass of light and shadow. Its presence was overwhelming, filling their minds with fragments of its thoughts, hunger, loneliness, anger. "It's aware of us," Avra whispered, her voice filled with awe and terror. "We need to act now," Leela said, activating the stabilization device they had brought. A desperate gambit. The entity resisted their efforts, its energy lashing out violently. The sphere itself began to tremble, its structures groaning under the strain. As the device struggled to contain the entity, Leela realized it wasn't enough. "It's too strong," Avra said, her voice breaking. Lila's mind raced. "Aerith, can we reroute the sphere's entire power grid to reinforce the seal?" The AI hesitated. "Doing so would permanently disable many of the sphere's systems, including my own core functions." Avra looked at Leela, her eyes filled with determination. "It's the only way." Leela nodded, her grip tightening on Avra's hand. "Do it." A final sacrifice. As the sphere's power surged into the seal, Aerith's holographic form began to flicker. "It has been an honor," the AI said, its voice softer now. "Thank you for giving my creator's legacy meaning." The entity let out a final, deafening roar before the seal solidified, trapping it once more. The chamber fell silent, the hum of danger replaced by an almost eerie stillness. Aftermath. The galaxy mourned the loss of Aerith and the partial deactivation of the Dyson sphere, yet, there was also a sense of relief and gratitude. Leela and Avra were hailed as heroes, though they dismissed the title. "We didn't do it for glory," Leela told a reporter, "we did it because it was the right thing to do. The sphere isn't ours, it belongs to everyone." Though the sphere's systems were diminished, its legacy endured. The incident became a rallying point for greater unity across the galaxy, a reminder of the importance of cooperation in the face of existential threats. A new chapter. Leela and Avra returned home, weary but unbroken. As they stood under the lavender skies of the Fitrin homeworld, Avra turned to Leela with a small smile. "Do you think we'll ever have a quiet life?" Leela laughed, wrapping an arm around her. "Not a chance, but would you really want one?" Avra's antennae twitched in amusement. "No, not with you." And as the glowwings danced around them, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, unshakable, unstoppable, and always reaching for the stars.